care now. You just rather watch me fall. From a quarter mile, I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, oblivion, oblivion. I'm going in. Fall into oblivion. Fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, oblivion, oblivion. I'm going in. You can't fall asleep when you're counting stars. Get it together. Your mind can't sleep when you let it serve. And now you wanna see me fall. From a quarter mile, I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it off, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion.
Function, pumping and dumping, manipulate the market, flooded from the darknet, flooded from the deep web, keep it a secret. Every exchange got the nerdy brains trading on the frequent.
Hello, everyone out there. Just give us a moment here. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to make sure and let us know if the audio is still off and chipmunking, because this is something. Oh, I had such a crazy week this week, as well as one of our members had to deal with some personal stuff, so they're not even here right now. Hi, wow, Tediarium. I hope I pronounced that. Tedarium? Tedarium? Okay, so the audio is working, but thank you for following us. Like, wow, right off the bat, and this is going to be one hectic episode because, not only have I had a busy week, but I literally 2 hours ago I came back from a place in New York called Far Rockaway. And for those of you who don't know New York City or the New York metro area, it's exactly what it sounds. I came from a rock far away. So that's what happened there. Hello out there. So I'm all because I had to do some personal stuff and it's super far away. I might as well have been in like an adjacent state. Like I might as well have just gone to Philly. Like that's how I feel right now. So if I seem a little off this episode, a little like dazed and confused, that's because I basically am. But anyhow, the show must go on. So hi, welcome for watching. Who am I and what's this show? I'm Sidepocket. That's what people refer to me on the internet. As you can see, a huge Legends of the Hidden Temple fan. But in addition, I'm also one of the two co-founders of DCG 201, formerly known as DEF CON 201 or DC 201. We are a computer hacker collective group, one of the many subset groups under DEF CON groups, where we usually meet third Friday of every month in Jersey City, New Jersey in this case, hence the 201, to chat, hang out, show cool hacks and stuff. In fact, our upcoming meeting, which we should be announcing in like a day or three, is going to happen on the 18th, probably starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we're still going to live stream a bunch of stuff, but we're also going to try to test run meeting back up in person again. Remember that when we used to meet like face to face in front of people before cops just started beating anything with a face and people stopped, were like rubbing each other's buttholes on each other, on like everyone's doorknobs, getting everyone sick with the plague? Well, that's dying down now, particularly in New Jersey. So we're going to go back to more of an in-person format, even though we're still going to continue a lot of the live streaming stuff, sort of like what DEF CON's doing right now, where it's going to be like a hybrid event. If you want to know more about us or like potentially in the next couple of days, the upcoming meeting, you can go to our website, which is linked below. And apparently Tedium has just rated our stream. I guess they were streaming, and so now that we have one viewer watching, so thank you for that raid. I always love that prompt. I always love when people use prompts that we rarely get to see. But if you want to know more about us, you can go to our website at defcon21.org. I also just post the link of it in chat. We're also over all crazy social media stuff, such as let's go through. Well, our big one is on Twitter at defcon21nj. We haven't changed the names yet, just the logo. On Instagram, we're on DEFCON 201. Same thing with, we had a TikTok, but it's still kind of in use. We're on there on GitHub. We're on there on the hostducks.social instance of Mastodon. We have our own .onion, all of that. If you're curious about it, not only can you go to our website, but here's the master list for everything. But hold on, doorknobs. Please don't, because particularly there's like five, was it variant strains of COVID-19 going on, and like that's my big personal fear is that New York is such a big travel zone that all we need is someone, either from a already existing state or another country to just visit New York once, and because literally. Now, here's a weird thing before we get into today's episode that I noticed because I was in New York City. Like I said, I had to go to a place called Far Rockaway. It's literally a rock far away, and like and again I hate to break it down like demographics like this, but this kind of spooked me, which is that I lived in the area I was in Far Rockaway had a lot of ethnic minorities and religious minorities, right? So, African Americans, Latinos, East Asians, Southeast Asians, Indians, Middle Eastern people, all sorts of gambit, right? And when I was moving, when I was in Rockaway, as well as when I was like commuting through Manhattan and Brooklyn, I noticed that almost all of the people of color, the people who are not, the majority, and to reiterate, the majority in the United States is, and I know we keep hearing this on the what do they call it, the like blue-haired liberal agenda thing, but this is true. It's statistics. Is that the main thing is it's white, male, cisgendered. Like that's basically that, right? So everyone that wasn't that either was wearing their mask in public still and social distancing, and or at least had their mask at ready, like they had it in their pocket, they were holding it in their hand, they had it on chin strap mode so they could put up any time. The establishment, aka the wealthier, those white cis, holy, I could not find one Caucasian person wearing a mask, and they were like drunkenly stumbling on each other. My favorite was there was one group of them. I guess they were coming from a social gathering, and they ran into a group of African Americans, and the way the African Americans acted around them, you would have thought they literally had the bubonic plague. And so I just find that interesting of like how the social demographics that like the minority groups on all ranges in America who can be affected by the disease the most, even though a lot of people have been vaccinated, they're still cautious. They're honestly doing the right thing in terms of medicine. Where this is not like it's not like a ransomware where once you come up with like the thing to put in like Windows Defender, it will just kill every type of that ransomware. It takes time, so you still need to social distance a bit. You still need to wear a mask in public, unless you're pre-screened for something, things like that. So I find it interesting that like a lot of the minority groups in New York City were doing that, but like the established people were just like, oh yeah, no, it's like people got vaccinated, so now I can just like lick each other's buttholes in public and stuff, and this is perfectly fine. And then they're wondering why they're getting things like the common cold again. Never mind, what we were having all last year. Yeah, that was just a weird tangent. But let's kind of get into today's episode and what this show is about. So I run, in addition to our third Friday of every month meeting that we live stream. We also have a bunch of shows that are done by different members. We like to think we're like a pirate broadcast television thing, and so we all have different stuff. Like for example, GI Jack, and he's going to make an announcement soon about this. He usually covers his all his knowledge about Arch Linux and his love for gaming on Linux and PC gaming in general. Cell has been more involved, and all of us actually have been more involved in like hacking various circuitry. And in addition to specials, I have two shows. One which I did last week on Sunday called the Master of Unlocking, where I teach people to pick locks. This show is called Crypto Barons, where from the power of GI Jack's actual blockchain that he lends me every episode, we look at blockchain and cryptocurrency technologies as technologies. So, and we're going to get into this. We sometimes we talk about kind of social aspect of it, like communities being built and like scandals and things like that. And we sometimes talk about market value, and we're going to get in a little bit to market value today. But the majority of our episodes is more like, how does this work? What is the tech like? Can we describe it? Can we run test programs on it? Is there a test net? Can we run stuff on the test net? Can we load the wallet? How does the wallet work? What unique features of this blockchain or cryptocurrency that makes it different from all the other shitcoins out there? I have to hydrate. That's what this show is about. And this episode, despite being kind of slapdash put together, because I honestly forgot we were streaming the show today. The show happens the second and fourth Saturdays of every month. And because of how weird May was, where it's like we had like an extra day at the beginning of May and an extra 2 days at the end of May, it felt like May had like 7 weeks in it. So it like kind of screw up everyone's scheduling. So I actually completely forgot. Like I thought I was going to spend all day in New York City, in the city, and like come back at like 1 a.m. to like the following day, and I'm like, oh, I have to stream this at 8. I forgot about that, which is why there wasn't like this is why it was kind of announced at the last minute. And it sucks too because this stream is actually a topic I've been wanting to cover forever. I previously found the previous version or name of this thing we're going to look into because I've been wanting to teach about masternoding for a while and what it is and show like a tech example of it. And the previous thing that I went for basically became way too expensive, like a masternode or a validator node. And we're going to talk about the slight difference there. They're very much related to each other. And so I found this whole thing and I was like, oh, this is neat. And what happened is literally for the past 3 or 4 months, the past 3 months, every time I tried to cover this topic, Elon Musk would fart or cry or like jerk off or whatever, and it would cause this huge thing in cryptocurrency that then I had to cover. Like we were supposed to do this basically, if I remember correctly, back in February, and what happened that week was NFTs exploded. So I had to preempt this to cover what NFTs were because that's what was being talked about. It would be, if everyone's talking about the meteorite coming down, here I'm talking about sports statistics, like no one's going to want to listen. And I thought, okay, once this happened 3 times, and so this is the 4th time, and so thankfully Elon Musk hasn't farted. I think he's going to the moon with Jeff Bezos, like literally physically to the moon, and hopefully we can leave them there. And now we actually get to cover this topic. If you hear random sounds, that's Jersey City outside being Jersey City. Anyhow, before I do get into today's topic, I do want to just mention this real quick. First of all, something I forgot about. Hi, everyone out there on Twitch, D Live, or YouTube. If you are interested in future content, such as our upcoming meeting on the 18th, and like my other show, Master of Unlocking, or future episodes of Crypto Barons, or some of the other shows we do, you can hit like, share, subscribe on Twitch, D Live, and YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that bell and make sure all notifications are on. Also, hi everyone out there watching, all the elite hackers watching this through Tor. Hi everyone at the awesome open source organization called Diode Zone that we're streaming on. And then finally, condolences for everyone watching this on Facebook. If you are on Facebook and you want to chat with us, you can chat with us. But the problem is that because Facebook is Facebook, it has like a weird, dumb, arbitrary way that works with the system we're using. So if you're on Facebook and you really want to chat with us, there's the link that you'd have to click on to interact. And if you like the content that you see as you saw earlier, when someone follows, I cheer them on, especially if you're on D Live, because you notice that counter up there. We are now, because I guess someone unfortunately unfollowed, 6 followers away on D Live in particular. Oh, and I forgot to put that we give out lemons during the episodes on D Live, so we will be putting out lemons. I forgot to put that in the title. I'm an idiot. But maybe I'll do that live in a bit. But once we get 100 followers, particularly on D Live, and we already have a ton of followers everywhere else, but 100 followers on D Live, we can apply to D Live to become a category called Cryptocurrency Superstar, and not only we'll be able to. And thank you, Teddy, for following us on D Live. You're everywhere. Are you part of the NSA? You follow us? Wouldn't be surprised because we've had crazier things happen here. But anyhow, I digress. Thank you for that follow. Hopefully the counter will tick up after this. I might have to like refresh it. And once we hit 100 followers on D Live, we can apply to doing this category called Cryptocurrency Superstar, and not only do a lot more with the D Live account, do a lot more with Crypto Barons in particular. So while that goes on, I'm going to reset the banner here, and hopefully it will show an update, or maybe not. Maybe it's just broken and I have to redo it again. But anyhow, thank you for that follow. And what was the last thing? And if you have any questions about what we're talking about today, and I'm probably going to flub something because again, I literally an hour and a half ago I was on the PATH train in Jersey City. Like this is how I literally set all this up in like 20-30 minutes. But if you have any questions or comments or like digressions, as long as it's not like I like fun trolling, but like, current alt-right trolling and turf trolling is not funny. Like it's just lame. So don't do that. But if you have any things you want to say in there that's in the sense of reason, please talk to me in chat. I love talking to people in chat. Again, hi out there, Tedium, for that smile. But we also love our lurkers too. So if you're just sitting here to try to learn along with me, keep lurking and keep learning, as I say. So what's going to be today's episode on Crypto Barons? So we're finally going to cover this again, is that we want to cover masternodes. And the best platform I have seen for large node systems on a blockchain is a network that's now called Polygon. It used to be called Matic. I should real quick as I'm typing this, I should actually bring up their old website. Uh, yeah, there we go. Because so they finally redid their old website so that when you went to it, it goes to the new one. It used to be that they had both websites up at the same time, and now they've actually properly forwarded. So I guess good on them. Maybe I'll use actually while I'm talking about this, let's go to the Wayback Machine here. But yeah, we're gonna be using the Matic network in order to the Polygon network, formerly known as the Matic network, kind of like how we're DCG 201, formerly known as DEFCON 201, to look at how sort of you do a blockchain, like a bigger blockchain network that's based on Ethereum. Hang on a moment here, typing this URL. Hopefully, I'll be able to actually archive it. Oh, it definitely did. So I think they changed it very recently, so I think it could hit anything in 2020, and it should update with it. But yeah, so we're going to cover that. And part of the reason why we're going to look at Polygon is because not only do I find it really fascinating, but also because this allows us to do like the way you have to do. So in a lot of we're going to get into what master nodes and validator nodes are in a moment, but a lot of those sort of things you do them in the wallet, and it's just like you click on a setting and it turns into that. This one you have to do a lot of terminals and install stuff, so it's going to be super techy. So I really can't wait to get into this. So since I can't wait to get into this, let's just go over to the screen browser mode here. So this is our website that's normally designed by Supercell, who unfortunately is not here right now. He should be back soon with probably another episode of Circuit Breakers, because I'm trying to add my own episode to Circuit Breakers, but I'm waiting for, just like my lockpicking stuff, I'm waiting for stuff in the mail. But let's get right into this. Again, this might be kind of a short episode because kind of ran into everything. But so what we have here is this is the old website for what was known as Matic, and the idea for the Matic network is it's based on, I think it's based on Ethereum 20, I believe, because that's usually the most common. And basically, it's a whole architecture system for Ethereum-based things. It's using two tool sets that we're looking into, known as Plasma and using proof-of-stake systems, which I think they've recently changed as well. But it's a whole format network based on the Ethereum blockchain system to make decentralized applications, as well as in order to route actual tokens much easier, more secure, allegedly, and more efficient here. You kind of see the Mac architecture where we have like the, what is that here? The different root chains, root for the root chains. And then there's like a whole bridge system. We're going to kind of get into that. And then the whole Matic side chain. And that's sort of the whole implementation between the two. And again, when it switched over to Polygon, they renamed themselves. It wasn't a simple renaming. They kind of like upgraded and changed a lot of, like, it still works kind of the same way, but a lot of the stuff in there has been completely different. But a lot of the goals are the same here. So the original Matic features were that, they want something, it's kind of the same thing you hear about with most chains here, where it's like scalability, very high throughput. They want like a UI user experience, which is really funny because when we get to the code part, this is like going to be some of the most terminals, command lines that you will probably see in an episode until we get to a certain episode that I've been dreading to do in July. They also want to use they also want to kind of beef the security for the existing side chains, as well as just a really robust DeFi or decentralized application platform. I think basically, like, okay, so what's weird is I think they're kind of going after Polkadot, which is really funny because they actually recently teamed up with Polkadot, but they think, like, one didn't get absorbed into the other. They're like two separate entities. You can see some of the partners here, including Decentraland, which we covered last episode when we talked about, like, VR blockchain technologies. But this is the old, and so we there's parts of it that still reference the old Matic network, like a lot of the documentation stuff. So we'll see this again, but let's not focus on the old. Let's hop to the new. So this is when they rebranded it as Polygon. Slogan: previous Matic network. Let me just read some comments. Glad you're doing this. Is really planning on doing this. I think. No, yeah, no. So every time Anonymous makes a video, we have to debate about sharing it, unfortunately. Because the weird thing, I'll put it this way, at least personally for me, I usually agree with most of like the anonymous posts from the group Anonymous, allegedly. My issue, our issue as a group is since we're a public group, um, there's this weird thing. It's kind of like, okay, so if you ever enter the numbers 2600, like let's say you're looking up the Atari 2600 and you type in the numbers 2600 in one sequence, you're automatically put on an FBI watch list. It doesn't go anywhere. You're not going to get prosecuted for anything. But if you've ever wanted to be on an FBI watch list, just type in the letters. See, that's how fried I am. Let's drink some water. Um, Type in the numbers 2600, even if you're looking up like an Atari 2600 or like a resistor 2600, you're going to get on the FBI watch list. And there's a similar thing with that I was kind of going for here, where if you mention stuff from the group Anonymous, like three-letter agencies start watching you. Even if you just resharing the video and just like making fun of it or whatever will put you on lists like that. And it's not like we're probably not on lists. You know, we probably are. As being a DEF CON group, we're probably definitely on some list, even though we haven't, and I'm not a lawyer, but as far as I know, we haven't done anything legally wrong yet. Because you know I'm still here broadcasting. That might change. But yeah, so we always debate about sharing like Anonymous's videos because you know I agree that like you know I love cryptocurrency. That's why I cover the show and like love blockchain tech. God, like Elon. I think the thing that makes me get mad at Elon Musk the most when it comes to cryptocurrency stuff, and then we're gonna get back into Polygon, is the fact that when you read the original Satoshi papers, right, and you read the whole concept behind whatever that person or persons or AI bot or future mermaid or whatever was writing, the core tenant idea of the cryptocurrency, right? Like its core, like you know, it's mutated. There's others, there's stable coins and stuff, but like the core gist, the reason why people were using this stuff, you know, Bitcoin and Monero and things, was the idea was that the people who actually owned the cryptocurrencies and thus also owned the blocks on the blockchain would be the people mining the cryptocurrency, trading the cryptocurrency, and spending the cryptocurrency, right? So the idea was that was how they were going to decentralize. It wasn't just programming tech. It's the idea that because the actual value comes from how much people like use Bitcoin, that means there's not like a bank of Bitcoin, the same way how there's like a Bank of America or a JP Morgan Chase or something that would dictate how cryptocurrencies markets would go. And of course, because you know this paper solved none of the actual social engineering human we call it social engineering human cognitive biasy problems, and particularly in the realm of finance. You know, you fast forward like 10 or so years, 10 or 12 years, and now like when Elon Musk, depending on what type of toilet paper he wipes his butt with, that's literally now how Bitcoin's being dictated. So we went from like all the users are actually in charge of the value of the currency to literally like even worse than fiat money with banks, one man being able to essentially dictate all of cryptocurrency. And it's like, this is why we can't have nice things and we can't win, you know? So yeah, that's kind of my rant on that, and that's why I want to share the video from Anonymous. So I personally, as just a person, not part of DCG 201, just personally for me, I like the video they put out. It's just we have to often be careful about what we share about stuff, just because you know we already get enough heat for just existing as hackers or minorities or minority hackers as it is. So yeah, let's get back to Polygon here. So we're going to cover a couple of topics. And again, this might be a quick episode. I'm thinking it would be amazing if we actually ended this at 9. I have an odd feeling we're going to end between like 9:30 and 10. So this is going to be roughly an hour and a half, 2-hour episode here. Not only because I have other stuff to do, and I also really need to pass out and die after this. After like I literally I think was on the train and shuttle buses for like 2+ hours. But I also have other crap to do later on tonight. So like as much as I'm really excited about finally covering this topic, and I have the big beefy computer and it's not fully charged, but hopefully we'll be able to get some computing here. Let's cover what the current Polygon network is. As it says, Polygon is a protocol and framework for building connecting Ethereum compatible blockchain networks. So it's again, remember when we covered I almost said pentagram. That would be there probably is a cryptocurrency called pentagram. But if anyone remembers when we covered Polkadot, Polkadot's whole thing is that it's based off of Ethereum, although it's not Ethereum, and it's actually like trying to compete with it and being like a decentralized application platform backed by the Web3 Foundation. And so their whole thing was they came up with these whole like dots and power chain systems to link multiple chains together independently. Polygon is kind of doing something similar, but like off tangent, sort of a different way, as I said, scalable solutions, and they're using multi-chain, but in a different fashion than what Polkadot does. So let's see here. So their key points is they're saying it has the ability to fully benefit Ethereum network effects. They're saying it's inherently more secure, but challenge accepted. We're going to look into that in a bit. And they also claim it's more open and powerful, so we'll see. And this is sort of like kind of their philosophy here with this sort of diagram of like what everything currently is. We have like Ethereum at the core, and then you have like, multiple forks, custom network, maybe a other power chain type network called Polkadot, like Cosmos, or interfacing using Quorum. And the problem is that all of these have like multiple different UI interfaces. They have different protocol uses. How do you even connect everything back to the main Ethereum chain? All that stuff. So their solution here is this sort of like balance where it's still Ethereum, but by using Polygon, you now have all of this kind of rule structure around it, as they kind of list here. So their solutions is they wanted a one-click deployment for deploying the blockchain network, growing sets of modules that you can customize, change all the time, go back, change more with consensus. Interpolarity protocols for exchanging messages and different types of data within not only the Ethereum network but with other foreign blockchains. Again, they're bringing up the security thing. We're going to look into that a bit, as well as adapted modulars for improving existing blockchain networks that are going to be added to the chain. So their idea is with the core of Ethereum here, what they're kind of adding, and we're going to go over parts of these, is Polygon's Plasma. Polygon, I always read that as piece of shit. The Polygon POS, the piece of shit. Standalone slide change, the ZK rollups, which if I remember correctly is going to be kind of the core part of security here, and optimistic robots. Those are transformers. We're not talking about blockchain. We're not talking about transformers. We're talking about blockchains. Optimistic rollups. Although to be fair, optimistic rollups does sound like a Zillennial skateboard move. So what do I know? We'll look at a bit more features here before I read some chat. So again, its core is Ethereum, so it has complete ETH compatibility. I think they're using ETH20, but don't quote me on that. I will actually be impressed if they've incorporated multiple different Ethereum types. That would be neat. They want this to be scalable. They want this to be more secure by modular security as a service provided either by Ethereum or by proof of professional validators. So it's kind of a little bit, that's a little trick. It's secure because they kind of leave you up to doing the security for you. So I guess that's better than nothing, but that means you kind of have to know what you're doing there. Sovereignty for all the tech stacks that you'd be able to implement. Again, the interoperability between all the different chains, so that way, like, they're not all speaking different languages. Everyone's on the same thing. They want to really upgrade the user experience here, which I guess we're going to test when we actually do the terminal installs. An easier developer experience, and of course, which is the same features as Polkadot, is modularity. So these are the lovely folks who are currently working on this. Seems to be like a nice mix of people. And what's really kind of fascinating about Polygon, right, is who here remembers what's now known as like the great crypto crash of early 2021? And you can see there's a bunch of these coins that have not recovered. Tether has shockingly recovered. I think that's because it's basically a Ponzi scheme. We'll probably get into that a bit. Ethereum's actually down. Bitcoin is stable, but not like in good shape, from what I understand. But it has recovered. Binance Coin is down. Dogecoin has really dropped off like a stone. I know people who basically had 12 grand in Bitcoin that basically left with 2 grand because it happened right on the drop. XRP, the USD stablecoin is being a stablecoin, so it's all like that. Polkadot. But what should be interesting is, and here's what's weird. So this actually dipped a little bit, but literally, so when the big crash happened, there was only like 5 cryptocurrencies that were not red and like did a sharp ski slope down, and one of them was Polygon. And I guess because they're still transitioning here, they keep calling it Polygon Matic. So they kind of combine the two names together, kind of like the way a woman or like a person would combine their name of like, like Anne Dash Marie, or like, Bethany Dash Fortescue or something like that. So while it has currently a little bit of dip, it was during the crash. If you go back to previous episodes, like when we covered the Polkadot Decentralized Conference, it was actually the most stable coin out there at the time that was like not crashing. So this actually got like, well, it's going to have cool tech stuff that we're going to see in a moment. Its kind of claim to fame recently was people noticing that it was the one of 5 coins besides the obvious stable coin that actually did not crash and burn when everything happened. Optimistic rollups are why I like Polygon. Again, we're gonna get into that. And again, I'm also like I'm half dead right now. So everything that you hear, and I'm willing to do in the future. I'm actually thinking of doing a future episode of Crypto Barons where I go over like previous mistakes that I've made, or like software that was really difficult to launch. And sorry, I just got a weird message. And I'll check that out later. That's ominous. What was I going with this? Sorry, let me hydrate real quick. This is the type of crazy week I've been having, right? I'm drinking my water with pinkies out. So what I mean is that I have covered topics in the past where I've unfortunately flubbed information, and pretty much every time is because it's not that I didn't do any research, it's because my brain is half dead. And this is going to be one of those episodes, unfortunately, even though I was really looking forward to this. So if I make a mistake, please let me know in chat and I'll go correct it. If not, I actually am planning on trying to do a Crypto Barons episode, maybe like in early winter, or maybe it'll be our December episode where I go past like it'll be like basically a year and a half of Crypto Barons episodes. And Crypto Barons episodes, and like find like where like we couldn't get this wallet to run, or we couldn't connect to this test net, and because I found workarounds and improvements off stream, and like go through all of them episode by episode and like see if we can get them to work now, or like that we get to put the proper information out there. So just wanted to cover Polygon a little bit in the market aspect because I thought it was really neat, and I kind of got like noticed and popular, and I noticed that CoinMarketCap now has an NFT section. God help us all. That I don't want to click in there. That seems like it's just like it's like FIFA soccer fan riot, But that Polygon was noticed in the past couple of weeks because it was one of the few coins that didn't crash during the big crypto crash of early 2021. So I thought that was interesting. So let's quickly, before we start trying to do stuff on this computer, look over bits of the technology here. See, now I'm kind of itching because there's a message, and I don't know if it's good or bad. It's about my personal life. Nothing to do with money, thankfully. And it's like I want to check it, but I'm live streaming right now, so I'm trying to like not pay attention to my phone. Putting it away. So we're going to kind of look at like some of the technology on here. Again, you have like 2 aspects of it. It's just frameworks and protocol. Let's read a bit about the Polygon chain. So Polygon supports 2 major types of Ethereum-compatible blockchain networks: standalone networks and networks that leverage, this is interesting, security as a service. That already sounds very snake oily. So let's go. It says secure chains, blockchain networks that use security as a service instead of establishing their own validator protocol. The service can be provided either. Okay, so essentially what they're doing is essentially you're outsourcing your security. So basically there's no inbuilt protocols, allegedly, if you want to, that will back up your coin. You're basically adding it in as like an add-on or a modular thing. They even actually said that some of their Polkadot's shared security feature, which we covered on the Polkadot episode itself. Secure chains offer high levels of security with trade-off sacrificing a portion of independence and flexibility here. So as you see with this thing, you have the core Ethereum blockchain, and then you have these different Polygon side chains, and you have validator proofs, fraud proofs, and validity proofs, fraud proofs, and validators. So basically, it's a 3-check system on each side of the chain between the side chains and the core Ethereum network. And there's multiple implementations right now. Matic Plasma is the one that's being used right now. We're going to look at that in a bit. The other one, which also we're going to look at, is the ZK rollups, the optimistic rollups, and the I don't think we're looking at Valium chains, but I just want to mention that that's there. And then you can also just have standard chains where you use the Matic piece of shit, and eventually be able to do side chains and enterprise chains, which from what I understand, enterprise chains are just like nonprofits that have like their own ridiculously large blockchains. It's kind of like the difference between like, buying an individual item and being a business and buying it in bulk because you're selling it. That's from what I understand is kind of the difference here. So if we look at the overall, like their outline for the architecture for this, let's kind of zoom in a bit more. See, I think that's as good as it's going to get. Hope everyone can see anything. And again, if I made any mistakes, please let me know. Just kind of covering this like as I see it. If you like what you see, again, hit that bell, click like, share, subscribe on Twitch, Live, or YouTube. It's completely for free. I get notifications and cheer everyone on. And if you have any questions or comments, provided that they're not super trolly, please mention so in chat. Otherwise, again, I love my lurkers, so keep lurking and keep learning, as I'm going to be currently learning about this, because this is so far, like, I knew chunks of this going in, but this is kind of fascinating. So the overall architecture, so you have the smart contract over here, EMV, and remember EMV because we're going to get back to that. And then you have executable environments, or EWASM, EWASM, and that's the two execution layers, and I think this is what they mean by the better UXI. And then below that, you have the what's known as the Polygon network layer, which has transaction collations, consensus, ordering, and data. It's interesting that they actually put the voting consensus on the same equal footing as the data, because most people would put consensus over the data. So I think that's a fascinating that. So it's basically like you can't have so much data that would override a consensus, and the data won't finally move until there is a consensus that's done through ordering. So that's fascinating. And then you have a security layer, which is again the validation management, validator, and the proof generation. So those are the trinity there. And then the Ethereum layer of finality, staking, disputes, and messaging. So let's go over the different layers. The Ethereum layer, that lower kind of layer there, is Polygon chains can use Ethereum. Oh God, the most secure programmable blockchain in the world. Now I wish this was alcohol, because that is not true. There's been a lot of it. Like, I'm not saying that Ethereum is like WordPress or anything, but like similar to Bitcoin, Ether and Zcash, Ethereum has been targeted many times. We even did an entire episode, like 5-6 episodes back. It was just all about like scams and hacks, and we went over different ways that people have hacked Ethereum wallets, how they've gone after like variant chains itself, how they've 51% attacked various consensus nodes, etc. So let's skip over that snake oil right there. Host to execute any mission critical component of their logic. This layer is implemented as a set of Ethereum smart contracts and chains. So I think the problem with the security already is that they assume that by having the smart contracts that's already a solid layer of security, when smart contracts are the ones, like, thankfully they've been evolving and people are writing better ones, but I would say if there's anything that's currently like being horrifically attacked in cryptocurrency outside of like demanding cryptocurrency through ransomware by locking down systems, is smart contracts. Everything is about, and pretty much, I'll put it this way, DEF CON at the blockchain village and the Monero village and maybe even the payment village. It's kind of like the triple threat, like the way the lockpicking stuff is now. But any of those villages, especially the blockchain village, Monero village, you're going to see a lot of talks and workshops, particularly about smart contracts, because that's like the hot crap right now of like where like security flaws are and like white papers and full disclosure and stuff happening. So now you have this extra, you have another security layer here, and it says specialized non-mandatory layer. See, that's already a problem right there, that the security layer is non-mandatory. Like, I understand that like maybe some people just either want to run test nets or just do stuff for speed, but maybe have like a separate like sidechain network like coding protocol, or like framework just for that, like a variant. I think if you use the default, it should be mandatory that you have a security layer. You know, just like in my opinion, when you have a browser, or like all browsers, in my opinion, should come with at least like I would say like uBlock, decentralize, and like Privacy Badger. You know, like those should be in by default. I don't know why they're not. Probably has to do with a lot of money and advertisements, in the same way that, you know, a lot of everyone's physical mail has to do with um, has to do with a lot of like the junk mail companies like bribing like postal delivery and stuff like that. So the layer can be implemented as a meta blockchain, so you can run it basically as a blockchain that's parallel to your Ethereum blockchains, and it does the validator management, so the registration, deregistration, reward shuffling, and the chain validation overall. So you have the validation within the individual blocks in the chain, as well as each independent chain itself. Security layer is fully abstract and can have multiple instances implemented by different entities with different characteristics. It can also be implemented directly on Ethereum, in which case Ethereum miners perform the validation. So that's where it kind of trades off to. That makes sense because you're already using the infrastructure that's already built in there for that. And then you have the Polygon networks layer, which is a constellation of sovereign blockchain networks. So again, that's probably why they're having a good relationship with Polkadot right now, because essentially they're kind of going after a similar thing, where even though they have two completely different architectures, they're kind of going after this whole idea of like side chains or like these clone chains where each chain is both independent, but since they use it, it's kind of like the same way of like in America you have people of all different backgrounds and stuff, but the majority of people, like kind of the de facto, unintentional, like we all just kind of gradually came to consensus to this. Well, there's also racism and sexism and stuff with that, but we're not going to get into that for overcomplicated. But basically, most people in the United States speak some form of English, American English language. So even though we all have we're from different states and different backgrounds, we may have different political ideas, different scientific ideas and stuff like that. Most of us can pretty much speak English, which that means we can communicate each other. And so both Polygon and Polkadot, because all these networks start with the letter P, and people will do a Polygon versus Polkadot episode one day, but basically what they want to do is make all of these separate chains that they're their own chains and can even generate their own tokens. But because they use a commonality of a language and particularly a commonality of framework, all these chains can talk to each other. And now that Polkadot and Polygon, if I remember correctly, can directly talk to each other, we're going to be in some interesting times, especially making core Ethereum as the DApp king really start to sweat here. Each network serves its respective community, maintaining functions like transactions, local consensus, and the production of the blocks. Probably also like the hash summing check of the blocks, I imagine. Maybe that's in the executive layer. We're gonna find out in a moment. So here we go. Execution layer, executive layer. Like this is the fucking president. This layer interprets and executes transactions that are agreed upon, including Polygon's network's blockchains. The two main sublayers are the execution environment. So you can have, which is what we're going to attempt to do here, a virtual machine implementation, or basically something on another computer. And then you have the actual execution logic itself, which is basically the Ethereum smart contracts. And I guess that kind of ties the execution layer with the Ethereum layer up here. So even though they kind of have it on a top to bottom hierarchy, I think it's more of like a Ouroboros type circle there. So you can have different positions within, like, depending on what your chain does. So I think that's what they mean about that Polygon is like super flexible, because basically every part of this entire system can be like modularized. And you can see Polygon, according to them, is the only one that can do all of these. So like when we covered Polkadot, apparently it can do a bunch of stuff, but it can't do full Ethereum compatibility, I guess, and developer experience. So I guess these are mainly the two rivals of each other. So that's kind of neat, you know. Yet they can plug into each other. That's just welcome to the strange world of cryptocurrency and tech. So what would you need to get started with this? Well, there's a couple of things we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the briefly at the Polygon SDK, which is a whole framework that we're going to be looking at. So that's compatible with Ethereum blockchains. It's written in my other favorite language, Golang. And then you have I'm going to call it this, by the way, at the end of the episode, because I always read POS as piece of shit. So the Polygon piece of shit chain, which is an EVM compatible Ethereum side chain, and this is where a lot of the security and validation happens on the network. Polygon Plasma, which is the sort of the software predicate thing, which is kind of scalable, that does the scalability of the network, if I remember correctly. And then, even though it's not implemented yet, we're going to look at, now you probably remember a couple episodes when we covered security coins about ZK snarks. These are ZK rollups, and while it sounds kind of a bit more like cool and street, there is a similarity. I'll give you a hint. It's that letter Z and K. But they are implemented differently. So, and then eventually, in addition to that, you're going to also be able to implement optimistic rollups, which we're going to get into that, and completely standalone chain and shared security chain. So the ultimate, I think, end goal is, again, the security as a service, where basically each chain has its own security, but they also share the security, like overall functions with each other and compatible other chains. So it's kind of in my mind like very rough idea, kind of like, I guess they're trying to do like due to like blockchains and network chains, like what the way like routing nodes are for Tor. So again, like similar to Polygon and core Ethereum, you can make your own applications and programs and things like that. So let's kind of look into this here. So the first thing is we have here is the Polygon SDK, which is this whole modular system here. And as it says here, some of the things here is that it's completely compatible with Ethereum. You can directly code these smart contracts with Solidity, which is something we've looked at in the past when we did crypto. I almost say crypto kitties, crypto zombies, as well as I believe 2 episodes ago. I'm trying to remember what we did, but I know we also went right back in Solidity with that. Or Viper, which is another kind of, I wouldn't say popular variant, but it's a known variant for like doing smart contracts. It's compatible with MetaMask, which we've recently installed and had to use ever since then. We've been almost every episode intentionally, unintentionally, like interfaces with MetaMask, and all of the core Ethereum tools and libraries are at your disposal on the Polygon SDK or software development kit. They want this to be completely modular, so they use various database engine selection, and they give you a whole bunch of consistent mechanisms that we're going to kind of look at for a little bit. Similar to Polkadot, they want this to be extendable, so you can constantly add imported libraries as well as other side chains and what Polkadot would normally call parachains to its core network here. And let's get the architecture. So networking all starts with base network layer, which uses lib peer-to-peer as its core, which is a modular, extensible, and fast way of peer-to-peer library. Which means that, again, this is decentralized to some degree. It's basically you're kind of half centralizing decentralized chains. So the P2P in there is peer to peer. So instead of like a central hub where everyone communicates, even though that's technically the Ethereum network in this case, peer to peer is where basically two programs or two machines, if you're talking about hardware, are directly talking to each other, and there's no middleman, there's no routing system, no nothing, and so that's why they're probably using libp2p as their main library system. Let's see here. Blockchain layers, central layer, yep, state. Oh god, we're gonna have to deal. See, one of the most frustrating things about dealing with cryptocurrency, and particularly the tech side, is that you're always going to run into the same three things over and over again. You're going to run into Golang, Rust, and JSON. You know, the three heads of Cerebus for cryptocurrency tools. And here's kind of like the whole setup here. We have the JSON RCP at the top here, and that communicates with the blockchain depending on what state it's in, and that goes to a consensus system. When it syncs up, and then it checks that with lib2 peer-to-peer, which extends back up to the TK pool, and might also communicate with the GRC or gang loop back around to the JSON RPC again. That's sort of like the whole kind of mapped out system there. We do have the code of it up here that we can like we're gonna poke around in for a couple of minutes, and again, like 38:57. I'm thinking at 9:30, depending on how the actual terminal stuff goes, we'll probably be done with the episode, because as you can probably tell by my voice and my eyes, they're about to fall out. And I got stuff done. I had a good day. It wasn't like I had a bad day or anything, and I'm really excited for finally covering this topic. I wish it was under different circumstances where I basically wasn't like busy out on the ass end of New York for 2 days and having to come back and like do like an hour before we stream. But I'm gonna put the this is and they kind of redid this because Matic used to have a bunch of different programming stuff on their GitHub. Now under Polygon, they only have variants of the SDK, so it's very slim pickings. I'm gonna post the link to the GitHub in our chat. And if you're on Twitch, we actually do. Oh, geez, I need to get tissue. We actually do have. I'll be right back, but I'll keep talking. We actually do have a widget on our Twitch that has our GitHub, and so you'll actually see that we've mirrored the Polygon SDK on there, so you can actually scroll down, click on it, and it'll load that particular thing separate, and it won't like leave the stream or whatever. The stream will still be up in the background, so that's kind of a cool thing if you happen to be on Twitch. And now I can see the update. So yeah, we're 5 followers away on DLive for becoming crypto superstar. So if we get 5 more followers, whether it's during this stream or for the rest of the month, I'm going to be really excite, as they call it. And note that like at 9:30, and I'm gunning for 9:30, that's when I'm going to log into DLive and distribute lemons. So I forgot to put in the title that we are distributing lemons, and that we also have instant rewards on, because we basically do almost every episode that I stream in the main meetings. Which is kind of, Instant, by the way, is a really cool like cryptocurrency thing where basically as you watch, there'll be like little codes that pop up, and if you can like enter the details of all of those that code, or you scan the QR with the Instant wallet, you get a bit of Instant, and then you can actually like trade that in for like a bigger coin such as Litecoin or even Bitcoin Satoshis or whatever, and then either keep it as those coins or cash them out as real cash. So it's just basically a cool way to reward everyone for watching our streams, and it's completely free. So as far as I know, because I did a lot of research, it's not a scam, but we'll see what happens. So kind of poke around in here. So let's see. So let's look at the kind of the overall blockchain itself. So all of this is written in Golang. You have the different inputs declared, and then you have the whole structure system with its own logger and executor, its consensus, its various. The headers are all atomic values, so that's kind of fascinating. We're going to get into atomic values and atomic swaps in a future episode. That's going to be fun. It's probably going to happen in July. You have the load up the interface system, how the actual blockchain is set up. All this code should look familiar. Notice you see here the Genesis hash and the configure for the logger. This is basically the first episode Crypto Barons where we actually built a very simple blockchain from scratch. And of course, there's sort of the test network on Go for here, which we've covered when doing the Polkadot sort of test networks. Let's see what's around here. So let's kind of look at the consensus stuff. Now I'm just going to quickly see is there anything in chat. Okay. Again, if anyone has any questions or if I flubbed something, please let me know in chat while we're streaming. Otherwise, as I said, if you're lurking here because you want to learn, I love you. Don't go away. Just listen to the sound of my really tired voice. We'll be able to go into this. So consensus is also in Go. And so everything's put into minimal state. And actually, it's probably showing up really tiny on everyone's end. So let's super zoom in here. The verify header, the configuration function, and the factory function there. And if we actually look at kind of the little bar here, yeah, it's 100% in Go. Like even though there was JSON that apparently popped up at some point, I guess it's so insignificant, or maybe it's like patched on to other parts of the Polygon framework that basically this is 110% in Go. So I find that amusing. And then the other piece of technology, if we can kind of jump back a bit, is the piece of shit chain, as I call it, and that's the EVM compatible Ethereum side chain here. So let's take a look at that. This is basically the old Matic website. They haven't really changed much here. As I stated, a bridge is basically a set of contracts, and basically they communicate between the root chain and the child chain of how to move data, and normally you're moving hashes, but basically the data in the blocks between the different chain systems. So there's basically two bridges here. So you have the Ethereum, that's the core network, and then you have the Plasma bridge. Sorry, I'm sorry, screwed that up. Wait, rewind. So you have the Plasma bridge, which, if I remember correctly, is the actual that's the actual security mechanism. That's the one that's directly based on Ethereum. And then you have the piece of shit bridge, or the proof of stake bridge, which is what it is. And we covered proof of stake when we covered on our second episode Gridcoin and Pinkcoin. So I'm not going to explain what proof of stake is. You can go after this episode. You can go click on our second episode Crypto Barons and learn all of that right there. So let's see what makes the Plasma bridge different. So let's see. They say there's certain restrictions of a child token. There's a 7-day withdrawal for most of the exchanges from Matic to Ethereum with Plasma bridge. The proof of stake bridge, the piece of shit bridge, is more flexible and features faster withdrawals. So basically, you have a slow lane and a fast lane, and you can adjust the traffic depending on what you want for everything here. Let me actually go. So I think I checked on YouTube and it was completely fine. I will right now, because there's probably a delay, I'm going to check on Twitch just to make sure, because we're probably using the same audio from last time. So let me double check, because if I can hear audio through here, that will mean that it's on your machine, because I've done that before on let's check here. I've done that before where literally okay, this is where I'm going to sound like a basic Betty here, like I'm some skid. That literally happened to me on freaking Instagram when we were using our Instagram, where there was a guy and he was talking, and I thought the microphone cut out, but it turned out that I had a weird glitch with my volume control. So when I exited out of Instagram and exited and went back in and replayed it, all the audio was there, so it was on my end. So I'm just going to keep talking, and we're going to hear if the audio is going. Yeah, the audio is going on my end, so unfortunately I'm going to have to say, Tardri, that unless there's some weird glitch going around, You probably should adjust the audio on your end, like check your speakers, make sure that they're working, because I just literally loaded up the Twitch app on my phone and all the audio is coming in actually even more clear than it was when we did impromptu adjustments for Master of Unlocking. So you might want to check your speakers on that. Worst comes to worst, go over to the YouTube one if you want to continue watching. So yeah, that's basically the proof of stake bridge. I often like to jokingly call it the piece of shit bridge. So the next sort of thing here that they're going to develop, it's not implemented yet, but they're working on it. And this is pretty much, I believe, going to be like the next feature come out, is ZK rollups. So it's like, what the hell is a ZK rollup? That sounds like a weird variant of the fruit rollup. Well, it's actually based on a ZK stands for zero knowledge. It's usually shorthand for a zero knowledge proof. It's a type of not just like encrypted sort of security systems, sort of like a way to set up to make sure that even if you have certain parts of like plain text data or something, that you still have a base form of encryption. I don't know why my nose is going insane. And we covered on a couple episodes ago, you actually might recognize that symbol as Zcash, and I'm going to go and get a tissue again, is that we covered an entire ZK system called ZK snarks. And again, I'm going to quickly kind of go over what ZK snarks are. Snark. But I'm not going to go into detail because when we covered all those coins, Zcoin and Zcash and stuff, we went over what Z snarks are. And knowing Z snarks, you'll be able to know what ZK rollups are. So again, what you have is you have someone who wants to prove something, and one wants it as a proof, and one has to verify. And so you have to figure out basically how you can do a proof with only half the information of the verification in order to fully know what's verified. And the common thing here, they're talking about colorblindness, apples and stuff, and the Alibaba's cave, which we also covered. But kind of the weird way that most people describe it is like the two different colored balls, where if you're shown kind of with one group is shown like the ball on the left, like a basketball, and it's orange, and another group sees the ball on the right and that one is brown, and there's multiple ones that say the right one is brown and the left one's orange. That means that when you actually have an example when like both of them are together and both of them are absent, it's pretty much ideal that if someone has the orange ball, that they probably have the brown ball and vice versa. The Alibaba's cave here, which I zoomed in the best I can, is again P. The person P here is going to go, basically the proof is going to go down the A path or B path, right? And when they go all the way down, there's kind of a door here. It's kind of a secret door. So what's going to happen is P is going to, let's say he takes route A over here, and he's going to end up on route A, and then he's going to call the verifier, aka V, to enter that cave. And then P is going to tell him to go down path B, because if the proof really knows the passphrase, you won't have any problem coming down either of these paths. So V is going to repeat that experiment multiple times of going down about the proof calling down to the verifier which path, because he's either going to run into the validator, is either going to run into the proof, or the validator is going to run on the opposite end of the proof where the proof can then validate on its end. So basically, if P is honest, so there shouldn't be an issue of going through any path, which means that because the proof can go through the door and thus go either of the paths, and thus have demonstrated this, because no matter which way V ends up, they end up completing the circuit. That means that the proof that's actually probably going through the system is true. And that's basically what, like in a very short way, how ZK and Snarks works. Again, I went super in-depth on an episode second episode in September. I forget what number it is, but I covered all of that in there. And there's sort of an interactive component and non-active active component in it. And so so if you take that concept and you develop it out, you have what's called zero knowledge succinct non-interactive argument of knowledge. It's a huge mouthful, aka known as Z-snarks. Now, and by the way, I'm just gonna warn that because of how everything's going right now, after I see this info dump, I'm gonna rehydrate and I'm gonna open this computer. So we're gonna take like a 1 to 3 minute break, and then we're gonna attempt to do terminal stuff to the best of my ability, and then we're gonna end the episode again. That should be between like 9:30 to 9:50. So, and that 9:30, even if we're on break, that's when I'm going to distribute all the lemons for DLive. So if you're on DLive and you want to, it's not going to be like a ridiculous size, but a bunch of lemons. That's where that goes. And by the way, for all of you who are confused of me talking about lemons, there's an argument that says that, and yeah, you fixed it, awesome. So yeah, I told you it was probably your speaker, because if we do it on our end and it works, that means it's like either your machine or the speakers or something. It's not us being like assholes. We're just being like direct here. But what was I getting to? Because my brain's going crazy. So yeah. So in a typical Z-Snark scenario, you have basically three different allograms. You have the PK, or the proving key, a random input, which is that sort of call in the tunnel, and the statement W, and that's what the prover all has. And the verifier basically takes the proving key algorithm, and then if it's true it's valid, it's false it's not, and then they use a key generator and this sort of like math here in order to get everything done. Again, I'm doing a really simple version because I covered this a couple of episodes ago. So ZK rollups are kind of similar. They solve a kind of a problem about sort of the data availability in Ethereum. And so in ZK rollups, and this is zero knowledge again, you have schemes for two users. You have the the transactors and the replayers. So the transactors, they create broadcast transfers to the whole network. That data will include a to and from address, a transaction value, the network fees or gas fees, as they're often called in crypto, and a nonce. I always read that as nice, like it's Australian, like someone Australian saying nice. I always read nonce. So that has all that information, and you can kind of read it's in two Merkle trees. We covered this in the previous episode. And then you have the actual relayers. It's the second component. So all the transactions are interchange of doing the transactions and broadcasting those. The two major roles a retailer have are collecting a large amount of transfers, create that rollup, hence the term ZK rollup, and through that rollup generating the snark proof, which represents the current state of the blockchain. And this is how they use this sort of system in order to basically secure multiple chains at the same time without having to do each individual special snowflake security for each independent chain. I mean, you could go in and probably add security for your own subchains, but ultimately, like on the system itself, when they're communicating, this is sort of the system that they want to use here, which is the ZK rollup feature. And I hope I did that justice, because we're going to move on just because of the sort of time limit we have and how tired I am. Again, it sucks because it seems like we have a lot of viewers tonight. I wish I was like more awake. I did sleep last night. It's just, if you knew what I was doing last night and the type of stress I've been under, holy crap. So the other thing that they eventually want to implement here, it's not ready yet, but they're working on it, is optimistic rollups, which, as they explain here, is an Ethereum layer 2 solution based on fraud proofs, or basically it's kind of consensus of malicious activity, if I remember correctly, on the network. So let's see. So one of the biggest criticisms of the existing Ethereum protocol is the lack of throughput. Basically, as they said, the current Ethereum, and I would actually say that averages between 15 to 18 transactions per second, which means is nowhere near as slow as Bitcoin currently is, but it's still slower than, let's say, like using your debit card, right? So the solution kind of this is they call it optimistic robots. Optimistic roll-up. So why do I keep trying to turn this into bad Michael Bay Transformers movies? I have no idea. I blame my lack of school education and my lack of sleep. So what you have here is you have their whole plasma system here, which has really high transactions per stream, aka TPS, and validity proofs that are more difficult. And then the optimistic rollup has their trusted system here. It uses Ethereum. It can use Ethereum 2.0, and it's a lot cheaper on its gas to use and easier to offer validity. And basically, when their plasma system overlaps with the optimistic robot, you have basically a whole like shared infrastructure that you can use to verify everything. So that's kind of like what they're trying to do here with the optimistic roll-ups. I almost said robots again, dear Lord. And I think that's all the tech I think we're going to basically cover now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go refill the water bottle here, and I'm going to try to get at least 2 brain cells to hump together, and I'm going to hook up this computer, and we're going to use a Ubuntu subsystem. I'm going to be reading off of this computer and typing on the other one. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm typing. This should be a very interesting experiment, because the reason why we're using this on a separate computer is not only for bandwidth reasons, but that it really needs a powerful machine. So we're going to attempt to see what that. In fact, let me look up real quick on how powerful the machine is. Yeah, it says minimum system requirements are 16 gigabits of memory, 4-core CPU, and a minimum of 150 gigabyte disk space. I actually don't know how much disk space in here, but we're going to find out by running it. And again, I'm not even permanently keeping this sort of validator node, which is going to use that security system to validate on the network. It's also a variant of a master node. I just want to see if we can implement it. I'm also, right before we go into it, I'm going to kind of explain what overall a master node is, and then you're going to try to see me do this. So just give me a couple of minutes. I'm going to go on break. Hopefully I'll see you guys back here, and then we're probably going to wrap this up between like 9:30, 9:45. So see you in a moment, and enjoy the chill music while I go rehydrate, get this computer running, and bang my head against the wall. So peace. I'll be right back. Hello, everyone on here. Welcome back to, let me make sure that I'm not too loud here. Let's just tone that down a little bit. Welcome back to this episode of Crypto Barons. This is a show where we look at blockchain technology as technologies. So while we do cover bits of like market research and like finance, we're kind of looking at the tech, and I can't think of a more tech thing than what I'm going to attempt to do here, which is simply, if I set this up correctly. All right, that should connect. What we're going to do is we are looking at the Polygon network, and See you around, Roberto, Wembley. Again, after this is recorded, and since you're on YouTube, all of our videos default to recorded videos on YouTube. So, so what happens? So, bleh. So we were trying right now. We're gonna spend an entire week leading up to our meeting on the 18th, uploading some more videos that have never actually been properly uploaded to YouTube, and then we're gonna mirror all of those on our PeerTube and our Internet Archive channel. So it's not just gonna be YouTube, but like pretty much our YouTube has the archive of every single thing we've been live streaming since at least May. So just letting everyone know out there. Gould said, sounds incredibly sophisticated. I just don't like how the whole structure seems to be solely focused on profit gatherings rather than human. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing there. I do agree that it seems like Polkadot is a lot more like structure decentralized, even though it has like less features, it seems, than Polygon. Polygon seems to like be more flexibly featured, but it seems like a lot of it's like there's a lot of stuff that's default that like I would rather have it be optionally modular, and then they have things that are optional, like some of the security systems that really should just be put in by default, and then have the option to turn them off. As I understand about flexibility and scalability, but as you know, blockchain networks keep getting more and more advanced, and we keep getting more and more attacks, we're gonna have like crazy, terrible stuff like this. So what we're gonna attempt to do is what we're doing is, since we looked at Polygon, we're going to actually attempt to do on a more high power computer, and this might foobar in like 2 minutes, I don't know, but for the next like at least 10 minutes, if we can, we're going to attempt to see if we can actually set up a type of master node known as a validator. I don't have a visual for this, but let me quickly explain what a master node is. So remember how I was talking about that, like how blockchains basically work, where it's like you have a bunch of blocks, and they're all full of different data, and it's usually hash data, and they usually have two types of data. One is a mirror of the previous block before them, unless it's the genesis block. So it has the data that is usually a hash, and then it generated new data or the new hash for that then the next block is going to previously base off of, and that's part of the component kind of breadcrumb trail security. All of this gets has consensus with a ledger, and the ledger is tracked and voted on by individual wallets. Well, if you make a giant wallet, essentially, where basically other wallets can feed off of, congratulations, you have a masternode. This is actually particularly why, like, for example, Bitgreen and some of these other more newer cryptocurrencies, while you might have to put things like one or two lines in its own custom terminal, a lot of these is that if you have enough coins, essentially, to maintain the node, and they'll freeze in the node. So once you set up a masternode, usually, all the cryptocurrency you have in there is going to freeze in there. So like let's say the minimum's like, let's say like 700 Bitgreen, and you have like 950 Bitgreen. When you turn that into a masternode, all 950 are going to lock. You won't be able to move them in and out like you could in a normal wallet. Like that now becomes basically part of the community that gets distributed. So but it's normally like, yeah, a switch flicking. What's really fascinating about Polygon is how much of it is essentially like a DIY, do everything in terminal elite hack sort of thing, which is why I'm going to try this out and for the next couple of minutes. And the other crazy thing, as I make sure, because let's see, okay, I think we have enough. We have enough of a charge that we can do this for a couple of minutes at least. Because I'm really only awake for a couple of minutes. I might have to do like a makeup episode where we go even more in depth in this. Again, I'm now actually thinking of doing an episode where we directly compare Polygon to Polkadot, the battle of the two Ps over the Ethereum network, and we'll see how it goes. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to install a particular type of master node known as a validator node, which is essentially a master node, but instead of having a crap ton of cryptocurrency, it's a node that basically has links to like a huge chunk of the users on the network. So basically it can do chain validation because it has enough consensus from multiple wallets instead of just one vote from one wallet. So that's the type of thing we're going to try to do in here through terminal. And we're going to see how many spelling mistakes I make being really tired. Now, if I have everything set up correctly, I should be able to turn on this function, and you should be able to see the other computer. Okay, that did not work. So let me just quickly look in. And I'm going to repeat here, if for some reason you really do like I think I actually have to plug the HDMI in it. But if you really do like kind of all this stuff that you've seen here today, um, and you want to look forward to future episodes of Crypto Barons, again, Crypto Barons happens. Oh, there goes my O-ring light. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. Which Crypto Barons, there we go. Happens the second and fourth Saturdays of every month. So this is the 12th. The next one, and I believe it or not, I actually don't know what topic we're going to cover next. There's multiple ones I could pick, and I'll make sure to properly announce it a day or two ahead when we get there. So I'll probably announce it on the 21st, 25th. The next one will be on the 26th at 8 p.m. I know we have moved Archvile Linux Perspective, which is Arch Linux hacking and Linux gaming, from a twice a month thing to a once a month thing. So GI Jack is going to announce. I don't know if it's going to be in the next couple of hours or next couple of days of basically what that sort of scheduling is going to look like. But the way we kind of see it is that now that since he only gets to focus on one episode a month, he can really put all of his attention and concentration on it. And so I think the episode qualities are going to improve. So that's going to be fascinating. And we've been testing our sort of our potpourri thing, which is circuit breakers. And I also have my Master of Unlocking show, which is the first and third Saturday every month, which is we did one on the 16th. The next one should be on the 20th, provided mail properly works. And then there's our meeting on the 18th. And who knows what other stuff we might cover. We might even cover E3 in the next couple of days. We'll see how it goes, because I know that's really popular right now. But if you like what you see and you want to see more of this, whether it's Crypto Barons, the other shows or meetings, some of the crazy specials that we'll probably announce in the next, not only for this month, but for the next couple of months, you can like, share, and subscribe completely for free on Twitch, DLive, or YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit that bell, turn all notifications on to make sure you actually get those notifications. Because that's the main reason why you want to subscribe. Every time not only when you subscribe live, we see prompts and we cheer you on. The physical blockchain will actively move and cheer you on, but also you get notifications before we actually air. So on YouTube, when we do those like preview things where you can like remind yourself that it's going to happen, those will pop up on your notifications on your phone and browser and stuff. Same thing with Twitch, which now also has its own mind feature in DLive and stuff like that. And particularly at DLive, right now we have 95 followers. If we get 100 followers eventually, we get to upgrade our account to something called Cryptocurrency Superstar. Not only can we do a lot more with the DLive account, but we can do, like, I don't get paid to do this. Like, it's not like it's not like when we get Cryptocurrency Superstar, we turn into Elon Musk. But it's more of that we have like more features and cool options, such as being able to raid like the way you can for free on Twitch, that you normally can't do on DLive. So it's things like that. So let's see if I properly plugged it in this time. All right, so now I'm trying to figure out why this is not going through properly, because I have this plugged in. So let me double check. So that is there, and this only takes USB Type C. I'm actually now wondering. Oh, that's why. Okay, so even though it's oh, I see what's going on. Okay, I'm dumb. Hang on, I forgot. So the USB Type C actually goes into the computer, if I remember correctly. So hold on to your butts. All right, now let's see if it senses this. Come on, where are you? Because trust me, if we try to do this on the streaming machine is going to crap out, guaranteed. See, normally Cell would run over, because that's the thing. I've done this setup before, but I am so dead tired that I can't remember how we actually did the cables. So normally Cell would like pop in out of the side and be like, "Oh, you put that wire into here," but he's off doing his own stuff. We might actually have to do this. We might end up doing this the traditional way, which would be doing two HDMI cables. But we're gonna see how this goes, because see that. Okay, so that's plugged in there, and then that should feed into here, because it can't go the other way around, right? Because it's like, because both of these take USB Type C's, but still trying to figure everything out here. I think we might have to do this the traditional way and use two, in the meantime, use two Or I just realized something. Hang on. Because I didn't want him to do this, but he originally designed this for dual monitor. So I'm actually going to test to see if by turning on the TV that this is connected to, if this will actually jumpstart the thing. If not, I will just do this correctly. Again, like, I apologize that, like, we're, like, basically doing, like, testing here while everything's going on. So yeah, there's no direct signal feed from here. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to unplug this. We're going to, like, legit plug this directly into the machine and cross our fingers. If I can find it. There we go. Alright, let's see what this does. Alright. So I might have to, I'm going to just temporarily add like a new thing here. I'm just going to call it, let's see, we're going to get this as a, let's see, I don't think it's a Windows capture. Let's try game capture. Let's call it side PC maybe, because I'm Sidepocket, you know. Let's see what's going on here. So nothing there. All right, so unfortunately, we have an issue where essentially I forgot which cords plugged into what. And I forgot not because I'm necessarily stupid, but because I have been commuting for 4 hours yesterday into New York and then 2 hours back. So, despite getting sleep, I am incredibly tired right now. Let's see, just double checking here. So yeah, so basically my brain's fried. I don't know, like, let me just double check to see where this, okay, so that's the, see, that's what I just did. I screwed up the video capture for the, let's correct that. Sorry, this is why I disappeared. There we go. Yeah, I accidentally wiggled the cord, so that happened. So hopefully I'm not chipmunking right now. But yeah, basically I cannot remember which cord goes to what. Because I can't think straight. So unfortunately, and this works out actually because it's 9:31. We're gonna have to end the episode prematurely because not only do I have other stuff to do, but I really need the other machine to do all this. So here's what I'll do. The next episode, so again, that's the 4th Saturday, so that will be on the 26th. Sirsa will be back here. We will have the proper setup for this. And all us setting up the... I love how I finally get to the Masternode, and then when we actually get to the code part of it, I can't get anything to work because right now my brain's just like, food. How do we spell it? You spell food, it's F-O-O... O-Z, like that's my brain right now. So I apologize in advance because that's how I didn't expect the commute to be this hectic. But Sircel will be back here. He will have, because honestly, I don't know why we can't just have a USB, HDMI directly to a HDMI. Because that would just be, it's just like one type of cord that would be easier. I don't know which musical chairs you're supposed to plug everything into. So the next episode, so that will be, put this out full screen on that. Once again, that will be on the 26th starting at 8 p.m. We're going to revisit this topic and we will do the validation node, which is varying the master node, live using this computer properly set up. And that will be the opening. And then we will go into whatever new subject I'm going to cover that day. So I guess you could say this is a part 1 now. And the actual us trying to do the node, and it sucks because I just installed the Ubuntu subsystem on here in order to set that up and everything. We'll just, unfortunately, gonna have to wait 2 weeks until what day was it? 26th. That's Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is it for Crypto Barons. Again, I'm sorry for this being super short, but I hope, because I learned a lot just by going through what they had on there. Like, because I already knew bits about, like, the Matic network, but it's been very interesting to see, like, what they've changed, what they've evolved on there. Like it's not just a base rebranding. They actually did a lot of different stuff. And so now I'm really excited to try to do this validator node. I think this will be really sweet. And so right now what we're going to do is we're going into the channel right now, and basically right like in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to drop off at least 50 lemons. Like it's going to be slightly more than 50 lemons in the D Live chat. So if you've been looking for lemons and you want basically slightly more than 70 lemons, here you're going to be able to get them now. And then while we do that, I'm going to load up Twitch, and we are going to look for someone to raid. Give all you watchers a cool thing to look at. So if you're on Twitch and D Live, sorry YouTube, stay tuned. You're gonna get a bunch of lemons if you're on D Live as a thank you for putting up with this like half asleep zombie episode of a topic that I was actually really excited to cover. It's just we had once again, it's not a Crypto Barons episode unless we have technical difficulties, but in this case, we actually have everything set up to run, and it's freaking AV cables. How the hell do they work? We've only been doing this for over a year, and we still don't know how everything's plugged in, or I don't know how everything's plugged in because it keeps changing every couple of months. So that's my fault. I'm the one who keeps wanting to add new craps or whatever. So we have kind of something here for Twitch. So again, if you're on D Live in a couple of seconds, you are going to be getting 70 plus lemons. And then if you are, I'm just double checking things. If you are on Twitch, we are going to attempt to raid another channel here. And it's really exciting. Now, it's also sucks because, again, I see I have actually a good amount of viewers on here. So I'm really mad that we weren't able to, like, load up Ubuntu subsystem and then, futz around all that. But I promise we will do that at the opening. We'll do that for, like, the first 15-30 minutes on the 26th. That's Saturday 26th, June 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then whatever topic we choose, because I have to basically flip a coin between two, we will go right into that topic of choice. So yeah, I think there's really only one thing. Actually, let's go raid this, and then we'll host the other thing later. So again, thank you for joining Crypto Barons. I hope everyone has learned here. Someone wrote, "Still don't get how cryptocurrency's nature is different from the stock market." It's not now. It used to be. Again, it used to be that, it's weird. I say used to be like somehow cryptocurrency is like 50 plus years old when it's like hyper chambered. So it's only been around for like slightly over 10 years, like 12 years, 14 years now, technically. It hasn't really skyrocketed until like 8 years ago, and it already feels like it's been forever. But yeah, it used to be different because it used to be a bunch of hackers just trying out cool decentralized programs, and funding certain projects, buying things on the dark web, actually user generated stuff. And now thanks to like Elon Musk, investment bankers, Facebook, greedy people on Ethereum who control Bitcoin nodes and stuff like that, basically, as I always say, unless you care about your privacy and you're using Monero, or you just want the cool novelty of a cryptocurrency, you should honestly just, like, I hate being like this. You should, if you're just like really want to just buy something online that's not like illegal drugs or something, just use fiat money. It's going to be a lot faster. We already have the implementation systems and stuff like that. So if you don't really care about too much of your privacy, in which case you should probably be using Monero with all of the security features turned on, such as the ZK stuff and everything. Or you don't want to use like the novelty of it. Like there's a place in Jersey City that you should totally check out. Might do a future Crypto Barons episode like there, or like pre-recorded, called Helen's Pizza, and they've been supporting cryptocurrency. There's actually a bunch of places around Jersey City that support cryptocurrency. They've been supporting it since the beginning, or near the beginning. They've been supporting it since I think 2013, 2015, something like that. And you can actually go there and you can buy pizza in Bitcoin and Litecoin. I don't know if they've added new coins in the past year or two, but those are the two you can buy, like pizza slices and hoagies and stuff. So it's everything there. Let's see. I know it'd be comedy. I call myself a hacker because I learned how to type in the 90s and use a tablet, which I got from Best Buy. Hey, dude, we all have to start from somewhere. Again, half the time on Crypto Barons, even though I've dealt with like decentralized exchanges, which will be a future topic of like how those are set up and how you program it and do the centralized exchange and things like that. I'm always learning something new. I mean, shit, my expertise, I guess, now is like lockpicking and teaching lockpicking. And every time I do Master of Unlocking, and every time I like go out to tool meetings and 2600 meetings, DEF CON meetings, and DEF CON potentially itself soon, and teach lockpicking, every time I teach someone, I learn something new from it. I've been doing it for like 5+ years now. So the key to hacking, honestly, is that always keep on learning. even if you keep failing at it, because at least you now know how not to do the thing. I always tell people the truly worst thing you can do as a hacker, besides just being a fuck nugget, is doing nothing, because then you're just wasting your time and everyone else's time when we could be moving towards progress, even if that progress is now knowing a road that no one should travel. So anyhow, um, we already have a stream to raid. We're going to do the outro music here. Stick around, because in like literally a couple of seconds, I'm going to dump all the lemons. If you're on D Live, we're going to go raid this cool tech stream that you'll be watching. Say hi to the person that we're raiding on Twitch. Again, I'm Sidepocket. I'm one of the 2 co-founders of DCG 201. We meet third 5 every month, in Jersey City, New Jersey. We're going to be going back to physical meetings this month. We're doing a hybrid thing. You can go to our website at defcon201.org here. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, GitHub. We're on almost every social media, and here's the master link tree for Masterlink. That's a Zelda phrase, E3 time coming up. So I hope to see you on the 26th for the next Crypto Barons, and we'll actually do the masternoding and cover another cool tech topic on cryptocurrency. And check out our other shows. Check out Master of Unlocking. Check out Arch Bio Linux Perspective, where you get to learn cool Arch Linux things and watch G.I. Jack Swearwall trying to play video games. Circuit breakers, where we're manipulating all sorts of stuff. And ungodly amount of specials. We keep debating if we're going to do something for E3, because it's literally, I mean, technically E3 has started right now. It's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's a big video game thing, but we'll see how it goes for the rest of the week. Maybe after I pass out for 5 years. Again, our meeting on the 18th, that's probably going to start at 6 p.m., both online on stream and in person at Subculture. And if you can make it in person at Subculture, we're trying to set up some things where if you come in person and you wear a mask outside and properly social distance, there'll be some cool stuff there that you'll only get to experience and possibly own by physically showing up. But we'll announce those details in the next couple of days, all right? So thank you for watching Crypto Barons. I'm sorry that the tech streaming thing kind of screwed up, but we'll get to that next episode. Thank you for all the follows, especially on D Live. Now we're only 5 people away from getting the coveted thing that we want. Let's distribute those lemons. Let's say hello to that person that we're going to raid on Twitch. Thank you for all watching. I'm Sidepocket. Thank you for watching Crypto Barons. I'll see you soon. Hack the planet. Dirty Jersey represent. And remember, don't try to live stream after you've done a 2+ hour commute when a Sericell is not here to tell you what wires are plugged into what. Honestly, I thought we kind of did okay considering, but hey. So see you guys. Enjoy all the music. Happy hacking. Hype bangers.